I mean, he's at Mendoza line or just below all season. He's only driven in 15 runs. A big reason why the Cleveland Indians are just not relevant in reality or for good part fantasy this year. Looking at the looking at the American League West, well, we just said it, that Minnesota has a 112 positive run differential. Houston Astros have a plus 93, okay? And I want to look real quick, if you can compare for just a moment, Minnesota at 37-17, Houston at 37-19. They've played 2 more games. On the road, the Twins are 18-8. Okay, the Astros are 15-12. But at home, the Astros have the best record in the American League. They are 22-7 at home, whereas Minnesota is 19-9. Minnesota's home and away records are almost exactly identical. Houston gets a big bump by playing at an Astrodome. I mentioned that because home field advantage. I'm already talking about it. Yeah, that's right. I'm already talking about home field advantage because if Houston gets home field advantage the way things are starting this season, that will be a big bump for the Astros going into the playoffs. Well, last night, a big bump for the Astros had to be Alex Bregman. So Alex Bregman, wow, 271 on the season, 36 runs scored, 17 homers, the same number of homers as Derek Dietrich, oh, by the way, 38 RBIs, only 3 RBIs more than Derek Dietrich, by the way, and 2 stolen bases. Bregman, just Bregman-esque, huh? He continues, the beat goes on for him. Bregman is just fantasy gold. I love Bregman. Plus, the guy plays 2 positions. He's fantasy eligible at 2. So, who's not to love in Alex Bregman? Let's look at some of the chat room discussion. Lou Landers, Lou, you're going down with the ship on Jose Ramirez? Come on. I mean, there's a time to continue and a time to stop, and it's time to stop with some Jose Ramirez. He just hasn't got it this year, and it's okay to admit it and try to move on. I just don't think he's the player this year that he has been. And, if we drafted him in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th pick, then we made a mistake. We own it. We move on. I'm just saying. But Chappie says tough to swallow. He is stealing bases, 14 bags. So if you want to keep him around for bags, I guess you can do that. Personally, I think you can trade and get 2 players for him. I really do. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's move on. We've talked about the standings. Today's schedule, one lineup is already out. Pittsburgh, Stephen Brault at 12:35. He's 1-1 with a 7.11 ERA. Ugh. Doesn't that sound kind of bad to you? Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. He is at Cincinnati, Anthony DeScafano, and the lineup for Pittsburgh is as follows. Adam Frazier leads off. Brian Reynolds is in left. Starling Marte's in center. Josh Bell at first. Melky Cabrera at right field. Colin Moran at third base. Elias Diaz catching. Kevin Newman at short. And Stephen Brault pitching. Now, notice in that lineup, I did not say Gregory Polanco. I own Polanco in a league, and I dropped him. He just doesn't play enough for me. They let him sit. I want players. I have bench players. I have regular players, but I still want my bench players to play, right? You never know when the kid's going to play. And this guy that's come on strong, Brian Reynolds, he's cutting into some time. I'm telling you. Cabrera has played well. And, of course, Dickerson will come off the IL soon. So lots of mouths to feed in that Pittsburgh Pirate outfield. And, frankly, Polanco's isn't getting done right now. So I don't know if the shoulder's bothering him. I don't know what the problem is. But I'm not a big Gregory Polanco fan for fantasy. For the Reds, who are red hot, Nick Senzel leads off. Eugenio Suarez at third. Look at who's batting third today for Cincinnati. Jose Iglesias. Yeah. Cleanup hitter Yasiel Puig. Derek Dietrich, a left-hander in the lineup, facing a left-hander, Stephen Brault. Kurt Casale at catcher. Jesse Winker in left. Jose Peraza at second. And Anthony Descafalani will be pitching today for the Reds. Other afternoon games. I won't get into the evening slate. We'll save that for later. San Diego at the Yankees. Paddock against Paxton. Paxton will be taken off the IL today and activated. Big Maple, Chappie. Gotta love it. Big Maple back for the Yankees. Pitching in the stadium against Chris Paddock and the Padres. Paddock 4-2 with a 1.93 ERA. Paxton 3-2 with a 3.11 ERA. The over and under in that one is 8. The Yankees are the favorite. I don't know if the teams will score 8 runs in that game. I really don't know. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, let's go back there for a moment. The Reds are the favorite. The over and under there is 10.5. I'm going over in that one. I think they will score more than 10.5 runs in that game in Cincinnati today. Other afternoon games, there are 2 others. Anaheim, Griffin Canning, 2-1 with a 3.42 ERA is at Oakland and Daniel Megden. He's 1-1 with a 3.31 ERA. The Anaheim Angels are the slight favorites. And the over and under is 9.5. The wind will be blowing out in Oakland today at 9 miles an hour. The A's have been red hot. They did lose yesterday, but they've won 9 of 10. And look for the A's to pick up that winning streak again. Texas, the final afternoon game, 3:40 p.m. They are at Seattle. Drew Smiley, the left-hander, 1-3 with a 6.15 ERA. At Seattle, Wade LeBlanc, another lefty, 2-2. With a 7.33 ERA. I know it's a pitcher's park, but I think the hitters are going to reign supreme today. Seattle, a slight favorite. Over and under 9.5. Give me the over in that one. I guess we talked about this last game. I guess it will be considered afternoon. It's not on the evening slate. 6:10 p.m. Cleveland at Boston. Shane Bieber, the right-hander, 3-2 with a 3.11 ERA is at Ryan Weber. 1-0, 1.29 ERA. Cleveland, a slight favorite. And the over and under is 9 in that one. More to talk about. How about Cody Bellinger? He became the second player to reach 20 homers last night. The 2-run homer off Steven Matz. Lefty on lefty. Wow. Last year, the Dodgers were sitting Bellinger in August or September against lefties. This year he's playing. He is just uncanny what he's doing this year, isn't it? I mean, he's hitting .343 against left-handers with 7 home runs against lefties and 67 at-bats. So what a year it is for who I think will be the National League MVP, and that's Mr. Cody Bellinger. Will Smith made his debut last night for the Los Angeles Dodgers. The catcher, he went 2 for 4 with a double and a run. He has typically not hit for average in the minor leagues, but he was hitting .290 at the call-up. He's got a little pop, and so we'll see if he's fantasy relevant or not. Will certainly depend on playing time. Of course, he was called up because Barnes went on the IL. Checking my chat room. DK Lush, I agree. He looks like he may be bothered by that shoulder injury, Polanco, and that would explain why he's not playing. Phil Chappie says Brian Reynolds is the new Polanco. I don't know about that, but, we'll see. Lou wants to know, who do you trade him for? Talking about the Cleveland third baseman, Jose Ramirez. I guess it would depend. I think in your situation, Lou, if you're talking about trading Jose Ramirez, it would be somebody asking you for a trade, and it would depend on who was offered. Now, if I was offered, say, a Matt Chapman, I'm taking it. Okay? I don't know that would be offered. If I was offered a Matt Carpenter, I'm probably taking it. Okay? Those type of players, they're good, solid players. You're getting some value in return if those offers are made. I just don't know who in your league might be interested in Ramirez. I'm sure someone is. But that's the type of player I'm talking about going forward if that other team has interest in players. And here's the thing. In fantasy, don't you think there are just a lot of teams? I know I'm one of them. I'm an owner who I like to speculate. Okay, I like to look at upside. You take a 200 hitter who has been, very much underperforming, but there's always the chance that he could turn it on, right? So you don't give him away. You get some value back. Matt Chapman would be great value for Ramirez if you could do that. Now, Chapman's been hot lately, so it may not. And Lou Lander says, why would anyone offer Chapman? I don't know that they would. You asked me a question. I'm just trying to give you some players that I would trade for him if I was a Ramirez owner. Okay? Carpenter being one, certainly. Those are guys that if I'm offered trades, I take. Okay? Are there other players? Certainly. I just don't know the makeup of the league. It's hard to say, but Lou says if roles reversed, I wouldn't offer more than 50 cents on the dollar. I would. I would probably offer 60 cents on the dollar for Ramirez because of the fact that he has done it and has the stolen base opportunity as well. Lou, good luck with that. I think he's a great player. He's just having a bad year. So we'll see how it goes. Let me know. Let me know if you do make a trade and who is offered for Jose Ramirez. And in the chat room, guys, give me some feedback and help Lou out. Let's give Lou some other players other than Chapman or Carpenter that you would trade for him. Okay? Give him some feedback. Let's go with it. Okay? How about Franmil Reyes? Think you could get Franmil Reyes for him? I don't know. He's certainly a good stick. And, he's been producing this year with some power. Just a thought as we go forward. Max Kepler. How about Max Kepler, guys? Maybe a trade for Max Kepler, Lou. He had a 2-run double and scored a run and 2 over the Brewers. Okay? He's been hot lately. He was the American League Player of the Week last week. As the applause ends, thank you very much. He was the American League Player of the Week last week. He's having a breakout season. He's hitting 280, 545 slug, 12 homers, 35 RBIs, 36 runs scored. He's in the top of that Twins lineup. They're going to score runs. And he's certainly someone that I'd want in fantasy. Lou says he'd trade him for Eddie Rosario. I would too, but I don't think you're going to get offered Eddie Rosario for him. I'd rather have Rosario any day of the week this year than Jose Ramirez. So, just something to think about. And that's the problem when you get these stars who are having awful seasons. You just don't like getting rid of them, right? But you got to look at the numbers. Fantasy baseball is a numbers game. It's not a name game. It's a numbers game. And in looking at the numbers, that's why I give you run differential. For example, you look at the Twins, okay? You look at the Reds. I'd like to have players on teams in fantasy, on teams who outscore the other team because of the fact it's a numbers game. So let's go back to that for a moment. Let me talk about, just for a moment, just for review, here we go, run differentials. Teams over 30. How about that? You got the Yankees at plus 67. You got Tampa Bay at plus 74. You got Boston at plus 38. As I said, the Twins and the Astros, I've already talked about. You got the Oakland A's at plus 36. That's it for the American League. Only, let's see, what did I say? 6 teams with a run differential over 30. And interestingly enough, those are the 6 teams who are in playoff contention. That's right. The only 6 teams in the American League with a run differential over 30 are the Yankees, the Rays, the Red Sox, the Twins, the Astros, and the Oakland A's. That's it. I want players off those teams in fantasy because they're outscoring the opponent. And if they're outscoring the opponent, numbers games, that means the numbers are better. Okay? All right. Let's look at the National League run differentials over 30. Okay, are you ready for this? There are only 3.